problem.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to the brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. It's your host, Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe if you're first time here. And if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rts.video, we have a huge community there. And yes, realtruthseekers.com is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis podcast and most of our upcoming productions. So make sure you guys check out realtruthseekers.com. Is the shortest link would be rts.video. They also have a amazing shop there for personalized t-shirts, hoodies, any meme. You could print anything you like there with amazing quality and price. So yes, rts.video. And yeah, we're going to be jumping in our guest today. First is Jeannie. Gene, how are you, brother?
Hey, Vikka. I'm doing really good, buddy. Had a good weekend, had a nice week. And as always, it went so quick. It's pretty amazing. Good to be back. And hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a good lineup for you tonight. And this is an interesting topic because it interlocks with so many other ones that it's hard to even count them, how many different areas we could cover and different cosmologies might be tied right next door to this one. Very interesting. And like always, they're all mysterious, shrouded, and very interesting. Real happy to be here with you guys. Yeah, thanks, Vikka. Good show, brother. Can't wait.
Oh yeah, brother. We are connecting the dots at a deeper level because we are not just saying, hey, all cosmologies are flat earth. No, just we are digging in deep in each and every specific one in detail, and the dots are connecting amazingly. It just shouts in itself that it's all one. All right. So awesome. Yeah, we got a few left, but it's right there. Yeah, it's amazing.
That is great.
Yeah, and our next panelist is Keith. Keith, how are you?
Hey, Vikka. Hey, Gene. Hey, Evelyn. Doing well. I'm on a little vacation with one of my sons right now. I'm going to hang with you for a few minutes, and then I've got an actual flat Earth meetup to go into tonight, where I'll be just meeting and conversing with others and just talking about the truth, talking about reality. And it's amazing to me, so many of the people who want to, we call them globe trolls or globe zealots or whatever they are. They don't even look at the facts. They don't even look at the real science. All they do is deny they're actually the true science deniers. They deny the science, they deny the truth, and just try to defend their beliefs. And I think the series that we've been doing has been really good. I mean, I've enjoyed it. Just going back on all the old cosmologies and seeing that so many of them have so many similarities, but the fact that all of them had the Earth as an enclosed topographical level plane should speak volumes to anybody who is actually willing to listen. Anybody who can think independently should be able to look at all the ancient cosmologies, see the similarities, see the fact that they all, taught that the Earth was an enclosed system and a flat stationary system. But like I said, I mean, there's so many people that I talked to. Even the last couple of days, I've had conversations with Globers. They cannot consider anything that contradicts their beliefs or their mental conditioning. So we've got our work cut out for us, but in the meantime, I'm having a lot of fun. So I'll be here with you for a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Thanks for being here. And our final panelist is Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you?
Hi, hello Vikka, hello Jean, hello Keith. Yeah, the Celtic creation myth, one of the nicest, or that I've read about. Well, there's a horse in it, there's giants mentioned, and more births of beings and all that. So we see also the coincidences of other creation myths.
Oh yeah, it's quite an interesting one too, because from Central Europe to Ireland, to Wales, to Scotland, to parts of Britain, parts of North Spain, so all had influence of the Celtic tradition. And the Celtic tradition, or the cosmology, is supposed to be very, very close to Norse cosmology. For example, the last week we did Zoroastrian cosmology. We saw that it has some connection with Indo connection, Asian connection there too. So the same thing happening here is with the Celtics, that it's very similar to Norse, that is very similar to Germanic, which is very similar to Greek, which is very similar to Indo-Iranian, which is very similar to Armenian, which is very similar to Albanian, which is very similar to Indo-Iranian. And these all combined together creates the Indo-European. So what are we seeing here?
Yes, I think it's like a family tree, where the one older creation myth has resulted in the stories of other countries, other myths, other cultures.
Right.
So they sort of spread out through the whole of Europe and India and the mainland. So it's like an ancestral family tree where all the different countries and cultures, they have the common ancestry, which takes them back to the earliest known creation myth.
Well said. Ancestry, tree, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So the sky, the earth, and the sea, like the derivation of Celtic words about the cosmos, themselves inherited from the ancestral Indo-European language. designating similar ideas in Germanic, Roman, and Indic languages, which gives us some insight into the Celtic conception of the universe. Like the Celtic word nemos signifies the heavens and is derived from the Indo-European root nem, which means to bend. Like it is likely that the Celtic belief was similar to that of many other people who understand the sky to be held up over the earth by pillars. Very similar to Norse cosmology, right? They also had the trees as pillar. Apart from the 4 directional trees, you had the one central tree of life holding the heavens, and the fear of the heavens falling above. You guys remember?
Yes, indeed. The Celtics and the Gaelish, they also had that fear of the sky falling on their heads. Also, they mentioned the stars falling down, which is which we find in the book of Revelation, where it is written that the stars are gonna fall down. So yeah, that's
Sounds
all
very
interconnected there.
Exactly.
I mean, if we take the stars to be living angelical beings, then yes, it's quite magnificent. The sight would be really, really wondrous to see all these lights coming down to earth or falling down to earth. I mean, if you believe that those stars are suns, and then you believe that all the suns are gonna fall to earth, then you have a problem, because you wouldn't survive one of them. So there's more meaning to that.
Exactly.
That's funny because with all the video footage going around lately, how could you even think that they're out there? It's millions and billions of years away, and that they look anything like the sun that we see in our local sky. I mean, if you take the comparison, like let's say, the NASA pictures versus someone in the backyard, everybody in their backyard is getting similar pictures except for NASA. What's up with that? It's just like the cosmologies. They're all similar except for NASA. So we're living in it. Right? We're living in a similarity to what we're talking about. Even it's pretty funny.
Yeah, we have to forget all the thousands of years of observations and literature and everything that exists, and we should believe to NASA, right? And
right. Pretty funny.
So the Goidelic word for the earth is talam, with the sense ground, like pro-Celtic, originally meaning bearer, upholder. These pillars are often visualized as trees or massive columns. The image of the sacred tree connecting heaven and earth, often portrayed as standing at the center of the world. Center of the world, the north, right? There's only one.
There it is again.
Yeah. There must be something.
Go ahead, Jeannie.
The map they have is it's hard to say it's similar. It is sort of similar. The details are different, but the similarity with the 4 different corners and the center is the same. But this one I noticed particularly, maybe I just didn't look far enough, but it seemed to be So they put a circle of like where we are, and they circled it, but this seems to be circled right in the middle of the land on the outsides. So it seems to be that circle cut the land off also. It's not all of them depict that. Some of them depict the lands all within the circle, but this one I noticed a couple times too, that the land was cut off by the circle. I thought it was interesting. Almost like the Urbano Mont map, how it doesn't really show everything. Antarctica is ice-free on that map, and there's land, and it appears to be more after that, possibly.
Oh yeah, they have a curious way of representing it, because in comparison for land and sea, so they have their concept of the tree with the central tree, and you have a spring under the tree, and then you have the oceans below, the lands around, then again ocean, then land. Very similar also with some parts of Vedic cosmology about lands and water, right? It, in a way, it explains in Celtic, it explains like above the underworld is the water and some land that the continents we live on, more or less, right?
Right.
So there is land below the oceans and above. So there is land to have, in a way, yeah.
Right.
Because it explains the tree of life. It spreads till under the underworld, the middle world, and the upper world. Because it's very similar to the Norse cosmology of the tree of life. So in the Norse cosmology, we have 9 branches, the 9 worlds. Here in Celtic, it's just 3 levels. You have the underworld, the middle world where we human lives with the rest of the entities, and then you have the upper world, represented in a form of a tree, a central tree. So in Goidelic literature and tradition, and in fact, a Goidelic word for tree-wood is derived from a Proto-Indo-European root, which associated with the concept of tree, middle, and the boundary in numerous Indo-European languages. The first element in the name for the Druids themselves, Pro-Celtic Druid, is an Indo-European root meaning to be firm, solid, giving the word true and tree to English. It's true because the word something solid, true. So there is that connection in the etymology of the word. You're firm as a tree, right? The Druids, those who uphold what is true, just as the world tree or the sacred pillars upheld the worlds of the gods. Up above the heavenly firmament is a bright and airy, and down below the depths of the earth and the waters, by contrast, are deep and dark. Deities generally resides in these extreme zones of heaven and the netherworld. but the central region, Middle Earth, is inhabited by humanity. It's spoken in such simple words, but it's showing the geography. It's explaining the geography of their cosmology, of their understanding of their world, where they lived, right?
Yeah, it's funny how in the Lord of the Rings, the Earth where the humans live, it's also called Middle Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah, they use these ancient terms in fantasy books.
Oh yeah, rip-offs.
Yes.
So there are two other Celtic terms whose derivation reveals contrasting colors and association, like Gaulish, Dubno, and there are many different names, explaining their physical structure of their universe. Yeah, so the Gaulish Dubno and the Old Gaelic Domun share close kinship with the words for dark. Like, for example, Pro-Celtic, it's called Dubu, means deep. And Pro-Celtic Dubno and water, it's called Dubro. The opposing terms for the flat surface of the earth, literally it's telling you there, the opposing term of the flat surface of the earth in Pro-Celtic is Albjo, 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 from the root albo. It's white, bright, suggesting a lit surface reflecting the sun. So there's also a island in Britain by the same name, Albion. So there are many representations of different cities that have their names of the cities are connected with the Celtic cosmologies.
Hey,
Yes,
I just thought of.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to throw in there that Kyrie Irving is a Boston Celtic, and he doesn't want to be a flat earther anymore. I think they're going to throw him off of everything. Nike, NBA, everybody's going to kick him out of everything if he don't stop it.
They are throwing him under the bus.
Yeah. But he's on the Boston Celtics. Just thought that was interesting. I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but it just occurred to me. And look at the name shows up in modern day NBA, because who has control of all the sports, right? The people who are trying to keep everything under the ground. So
yeah, give them sports and bread.
Right. And they will not
games.
revolt.
Yeah, give them games and bread. Keep them happy.
It's true, though. It's sad but true.
I'm gonna try a Scottish accent here. You can't shove your granny off the bus.
That's great. Yeah, but he's pulling back on that from what I hear. He's saying, I was wrong. I don't know what I was talking about. So. Yeah,
he's seeing his income getting obliterated.
His bank account got affected.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I actually have a fleece sweater with the name Alba on it, and which we got in Scotland actually, and I knew that Alba means white, but now I know where it comes from. So
exactly, and Alba.
Really nice.
Yeah, and Alba also in Spanish, in Spain, it's name of girls, Alba. And albino is white, albino, Alba, so it's the same.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Look at that.
indeed, yes. Alba.
But it's important.
Al-alba. Al-alba in Spanish is also al-alba. I think it's in the morning.
Exactly. Also,
In the morning. So it suggests the light.
Right. The darkness goes away.
The
It'd be
rising,
light, right?
the coming light of the sun, al-alba, or
Wow.
the evening. I'm not sure.
it's like it's the dawn. It's the dawn.
The dawn, yes, the
Yeah.
dawn, al-alba, yes.
Yeah. So also Zeus Scott is saying Albion. Yeah, exactly. That's the right word, Albion. But it's important to note that this name implies a female deity who personified the territory. Like, there was likewise a corresponding dark female deity called Dubnona, attested across the Celtic world, who personified territory. This duality for the dark and light aspect of the earth seemed to be echoed in early Irish tales, which claims that the conflict between the human, the Gaels, and the pagan gods was resolved by splitting space up between them, with humans taking the surface of the earth and the gods being given the mounds directly under the soil. This three-party tight scheme for the structure of the universe was retained in the Gaelic tradition into the early medieval period. Like a number of early Irish texts contains the triad sky, earth and sea, such as the exclamation put into the mouth of the warrior, Cu Chulain. Is it the sky that breaks, or the sea that ebbs, or the earth that quakes? Or is this the distress of my son fighting against the odds of the foray of Qualinge? It's also that the two Gaelic words for the sky, Old Gaelic fry and Middle Gaelic spire, implies looking up at a curved spear. Looking up at a curved spear. She's speaking about the celestial.
That's the celestial sphere, yes.
Yeah. So it's literally explaining the geography of their land with the central tree and the celestial. So, beginnings and the ends, like many ancient people believed that the universe was not totally stable, but prone to break down and disintegrate. Like even if it could reemerge in a renewed state, like the fear that the pillar might collapse and allow the firmament to come down crashing on the earth, which would then sink into the sea, seems to be echoed in these accounts of the Celtic warriors who met Alexander the Great. Alexander. Like, it was inconceivable that the Druids did not have some doctrine about the origins of the world and its ultimate destiny, such as the myth of other Indo-European people, even though these were not committed to writings. Like both the Druids and the other asserts that both the soul and the worlds are indestructible, but that sometime fires and sometimes waters have overwhelmed them. Maybe like a
Wow.
flood, yeah, or a
Right.
flood, or a burning of the whole like zone or area, like
You turn a whole place into a desert.
Yes, it complies with the story of creation, where it states, in the first verse, that it was dark and the waters just moved. The Spirit of God just moved over the waters, and I mean, the structure was already there. So it implies that it wasn't just created from nothing, at least not then, but that it was sort of renewed. But we don't know what was there before. But it just states, maybe I can just get the where's my Bible? Okay, page 1. That's easy to find.
yeah, it's that doomsday scenario also they have, like like
everything wiped out to begin again. Just gonna read from Genesis 1, verse 1. So right at the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So, I mean, in the beginning, when was the beginning? And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So there it's describing the state that the whole structure was. So it was already there. And then, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So in the first day he only made the light. So where was the waters in that at that time? He hadn't separated the waters yet. That happens on the second day. So there was a structure there before he began to actually form it. So it does comply with this story that it was indestructible but renewable. And if we know that let's say God is eternal, well, eternity also works backwards, not only forwards. So
right.
Yeah, we don't know what was there before this creation.
Exactly, because here in the Celtic way, what they're trying to explain this is like a coming of flood, or a big earthquake, or
fire,
like disasters like these. It's kind of a renovating. It's literally saying it.
It's literally wiping out the whole of the creation and renewing it.
Yeah, resetting it. Yeah.
Resetting it. Yeah. But that's a different kind of reset.
Yeah, well, because it's natural from the nature. Because it's a kind of antidote that because the mother nature is supposed to be an organism in itself, we being part of it, right?
Yes.
And if we are becoming like, I don't even want to use the word, if we are becoming like the we for the planet, it has a way to detox it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
And here it's yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking that you could all they can do is make it uninhabitable first. They're not going to destroy the whole place. It's too big. There's not enough of them. There's too many of us. We probably wouldn't let it happen if it really came down to that. Hopefully,
No, the thing is, God won't let that happen.
right? Right. Not we like humans. I don't think
They will.
could.
They will try. They will do the best.
Right. No, but like I said, all they can do is make it uninhabitable for us. So we can't live there because it's desert or it's too cold or whatever have you. It's
Yeah.
Toxic like Russia or whatever, Chernobyl kind of places. That's all they can do. And that's what they're trying to do. But
Yeah.
to destroy the whole place? Nah. No way.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
gonna
but
go
maybe
that far.
surviving very few, but the majority of cleanup is, I think it happens, and it needs to happen, and it shows. There are texts also which they are so much worried about those. For them, it's like the heavens are falling.
Right. The whole sky's crashing down for them.
So there has to be that knowledge which have been passed on, that it was so severe that it's there in the literature, it's there in their cosmologies of specifying it, of saying, hey, the earth, you want to listen as a fairy tale way, as a fantastic way, as a mythological way, but listen, it's there, it's saying, and every cosmology did that and doing that. And they have the ends of the day of the judgment, the apocalypse, right? So what do the Celtics think about death and afterlife? Because what we're trying to do here is also, when we are doing these analysis of these cosmologies, we also investigate the spiritual part, so we can understand indirectly what they are trying to say about their world, about their earth, about their understanding, right? The belief that the mankind was made of the soil of the earth is reflected in the book of Genesis, right? Like God made Adam from the soil, and indeed the Hebrew Adama means earth, soil. The Pro-Celtic term donjo connotes a person that is derived from the Indo-European term for the earth. The root is also the basic for Gaelic term connoting ancestral territory, like hereditary rights and traditions. Like this suggests that our corporal bodies at least come from and belong to earthly domain. Exactly. Wow. Very similar, right? Made of soil. We spoke about minerals. We spoke about how we are minerals. Right. Every nutrients we take, every medicine, the alkaloids that heals us is crystals, is mineral. And we saw this in different cosmologies, speaking about connection with we humans with the soil. Soil is mineral, right?
And dirt is therapy too. The aroma from dirt is like actually good for you. It's therapeutic for you.
Oh yeah, working with soil with your hands has antidepressant properties.
Sure.
Yes, it resets, again that word, all your physiological properties, so to speak.
So that's why they don't want us gardening.
Yeah, gardening is really, really good for you.
Yeah. And how many different ways too? You grow your own food, and you're your own. That's your therapy. Is outside your back door.
Keeps you from getting bored.
Yeah. There's no time for that.
Yeah, I can spend the whole day in the garden and not even get hungry.
Right.
So I will eat out of. I have to admit, I will eat out of boredom.
Oh, so I'm still harvesting my guayabas. It's from September to now. It's freezing, but still I have the last few there hanging. So awesome. So what I wanted to mention also about this is when it says that we come from, like, our corporal bodies at least comes from and belong to the earthly domain. It's very important for us to understand that we don't need attachments even with ourselves. What he's also trying to say in a way is that when we pass to the other side, we shouldn't have attachment with anything, but not even with our physical bodies, because it's been created for this plane, for this reincarnation, for this avatar, whatever you want to call it, and it's been borrowed. Okay, so we cannot be so attached and say, hey, I'm not going to give this up. We have no reason to say that it belongs to us and we need to take it everywhere, because we feel like that. Nothing is ours, including our body, including our friends, family, the whole, whatever we see, everything is all borrowed. It's nothing. We cannot own nothing. So we have to understand that we cannot attach with anything. So it's a way of liberating your soul from your body, because that's where the concept of what is afterlife, what we are doing in this life, because of that, because there's so much of different opinion and view about what happens exactly once one goes to the other side. And the most important thing is to understand this, that there is nothing. We don't earn nothing. So there is no fear of anything, to lose anything, because we didn't bring anything, right?
That's so cool, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I even found in one of the passages in one of the extra biblical books, I think it's the Legend of the Jews, and it talks about how God formed man and woman from the different kinds of earth, soil in the earth. So he actually gathered soil from different parts of the earth, so that when your body goes back to the earth, the earth wouldn't reject the body if it comes from another part of the earth, of the land.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
like designed specially for that. Whoa. Yeah.
Yes. So he actually used different kinds of soil from, and also because our skin is different colors, they coincide with the colors of earth and mud and the different soils. Yeah.
Right.
So many shades. Yeah.
Yes, if you look at all the shades of different colors that the soil has in different parts of the world, it will coincide with the skin color of the people.
Yeah, we briefed on that really a while back, Vikka. I remember. That's so cool. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
That's a really nice addition to add to how to describe not being afraid of dying to people. I was talking this weekend about how it should really be talked about more. We're all going there, and to be afraid of it is just what they want. They want people to be afraid of anything and everything, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Yes.
What I also read is that we don't know down here anymore what we sort of forget.
Right.
That we come from the angelical world, from the spirit world, and in the beginning, God created every living spirit that would ever walk on the earth. So, and every time there's a child, baby being formed, God will choose a spirit, or ask one angel, get the next one in line, sort of.
Right.
And we'll just send it down to to give life to the baby, to the new creation. So that's
Exactly,
yes.
and in the Celtic, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and so when we are born into this world, when we are attached to this world, because we are in a flesh and blood vessel.
Exactly, avatar.
Yeah.
This is our avatar.
Yes. You can see it as your avatar.
That's it. And here in the Celtic, where they also, in that concept, they speak about that the soul is indestructible. Like, it can just keep reincarnating.
Right.
Non-stop.
The soul, they don't understand time like we do. They don't age like we do. It's just not the same. There's no way to describe how different it is either, I think.
Exactly. The druid like thought that the soul do not become extinct,
right,
but passes after death from one body to another. Like the Celt believe that the souls of the men are immortal, and that after a prescribed number of years, they commence upon a new life, the soul entering into another body. This new body that awaits death in this world clearly exists in an other world. There seems to have been a belief that one could stop the natural cycle of rebirth. That the soul and the world had sometime been overwhelmed by fire seems to refer to the practice of burning the remains of their enemies to ruin the chance of reaching the other worlds.
Oh, so they hoped to burn the soul so that they wouldn't be reincarnated.
Right.
That sounds symbolic to me. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes. Certainly.
Right?
But you can't kill a soul.
Right. Exactly.
That's just the thing. You can't kill a soul. Only
Right.
God can do that.
You can't. You probably couldn't even hurt a soul.
No.
You know.
Only God can kill a soul, a spirit. You know, he can just say, no, you're not meant to be. You're not meant to be. You know, poof.
Right.
And it's gone.
That's why I think we get the choices from. We're trying to develop our soul for the next world we're going to, and I mean, I guess souls could probably grow and get better. I could imagine that. And maybe
Zeus God wants to come back as a dog.
I want to be a cat. Not in this life.
I don't think that anybody will want to come back once you get into, where you come from, where your spirit comes from. You don't want to come back.
That's what I think too. We got all these fantasy
You're like saying,
ideas.
like, what? I'm not going back there.
Yeah. No, but if you're an evolved soul, then you don't care about the 80 years you got to do down here. Like, they're probably jumping for the opportunity. I'll do it. I would think. I think you probably have both kinds, right? People like some souls are going to turn around and act like they're busy somewhere else, and some are going to take the opportunity to come down because they've probably done it so many times that it's probably a little more forgiving for them. It's not like what we think. We can try and explain it, but I don't know how close we're coming. It's a pretty magical place that I don't really think we understand.
Exactly. So the burials for the elites of the late Hallstatt and Tene society suggest that the dead were being prepared and equipped for life in another realm. They are placed in a wagon or chariot and supplied with clothing, regalias, weapons, and feasting equipments.
Right.
And the Lucan contrasts Roman and Greek teachings about a ghostly, insubstantial life in the underworld with the Druidic tenets that after death the soul goes to another realm, as real and material as our own, which existed somewhere else on this earth. Speaking about extra lands,
Yeah, outside the
right
ring.
there.
Yeah. Somewhere else on this earth. That's great.
Yeah, it's possible that the firmament reaches out further than we know. Maybe one of the lies that they let to infiltrate the flat Earth community is that the
Right.
dome ends by Antarctica, but maybe it spreads out a bit more. So
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
They had those machines, the tunnel boring machines in the 60s, I think, where they were drilling a hole into what they were calling where it met the earth. Down something from the sky was hitting the earth. They were drilling through it, and they had a hard time. But that was about 25 or 2,800 miles off of the ice wall where Antarctica starts. So now, if that's true, then you could picture a 2,800 mile ring around what we know as the Earth of possible land.
Oh yeah. So this is the thing. Apart from yeah, go ahead.
So from the coast of what we know as Antarctica, then it's at 28,000 miles.
28, about 25 or 2,800 or something like that.
Okay, that's quite a distance because
that's like that's a lot of land if you make that a circle.
that is the
well possible. That's not saying it's all land, but
that's quite a lot of distance because I mean if you calculate, I mean roughly calculating, the circumference of the equator is 24,000 miles. So you can just sort of get that line and spread it out in one straight line.
Yeah, if you go to like
that's quite a distance, and
huge.
It's 28,000. That's a bit more than 24,000.
Well,
so you could think that what we know as Antarctica is narrower, and then there's more water, and then there's another wall.
Sure.
Which yeah.
I leave it all open.
I can see that in my head. You know, I can see that picture in my head. I mean, I've got an artist brain, so
cool.
3D. So I can
the curious
in my head.
The curious thing about this, that it's speaking about the extra lands in a way, right? It's in a way it's speaking about extra lands, and it also says that in their literature, it's believed that in a land of the afterlife, separated from our realm by a formidable ocean. So it's saying that literally you are being reborn on the same earth, which is just some part of the extra lands there. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's crazy. Wow. And then we say, hey, where is the proof of extra land? Where does it say? Right.
Yeah, I don't understand how people can understand restricted areas and then just not understand that there's possibly other lands there. To me, that goes hand in hand. And other people are like, they're just, it's too dangerous out. They don't care about danger for us. You understand this?
And even Admiral Byrd said that there's more land on the other side.
Yeah.
Of the Antarctica. On the other side. I mean, on the other side.
The only way to reach those extra lands is Next lives.
Yeah, right. Gotta die.
There's probably a sort of an opening when it's winter up here and it's summer in the south.
Well, there's a lot of
It probably
rumors that
melts
that
the gateway. I mean,
Yeah.
Adbert said that he went to the other side, and then you have the other story. What's it called? The Iron Republic. It talks about a land, big island, sort of a maybe a bit bigger than America.
right.
Talks of a land there of people that traveled there maybe in the 15th or 16th century. And these guys, this governor or senator or something, he got tired of all the lies and the whole thing going on here on this side. So he bought a boat, he bought a ship, and with a crew on it, and they just sailed off. And they came across an opening, so they went through the opening, and they went out the other side, and to open sea. And then after a while, there came some ships, but with motorized engines and all that.
They came to meet them, right?
And they said, "Hey, who are you?" I said, "Well, we're coming from America. Well, where are we?" I said, "Well, you're the Iron Republic, and we come. We came from America a couple of centuries ago to escape all the tyranny there in the world." And they got to the landmass, to the land, and they lived there for a time. And what they saw there, and this is in 1900s. It was a magazine in the 1900s, the New York Times, I think. And though in this story, the author described TVs, radio, but then
That's not great.
telephones with images and PA systems, and everybody had a sort of a designated thing, for them to do. Everybody took part in farming, in just running the place and all that. It's a very peaceful place.
Bunch of
Yeah,
anarchists.
there is a lot of extra places that we don't know could be existing very near. We don't even need to go thousands of miles. It's just cut off with this from this race we have of between everybody, like a controlled area, like a slave plantation. Only needs to know basis of what, so there could be other part of the world which are having similar technologies and be much more ahead. Or I don't think there are races more or less evolved than us, right? At least in this near to us looks difficult, because the absurdity we are seeing of the human race with everything going on, there is no doubt.
Now they got us going backwards here with, don't forget, guys, that all of our information, or most of it's coming from like television and news stations, which is television, and they own all that stuff. They have it all. So even like what we're talking about, they probably only let it through. I can imagine that. I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, they let enough technology to go out, just to keep us sort of enthusiastic about it. It makes our life easier, and
Exactly.
and we're more entertained. And you only have to look at the last 20 years, the jump that online, social life has evolved.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, People are looking more into social network for like-minded people, because there's a
Because there's no locals.
yeah yeah there's a lack of people who are awake. So you just go into social network, but otherwise than that, there's so much entertainment going on that the youth of today, teenagers and in the 20s and 30s, they turn to all this internet technology, TikTok and YouTube, to look for the entertainment instead of picking the phone up and just calling some friends and getting together. It's all it's all designed to keep us inside, to keep us entertained inside. And you can get loads of movie how do you call them, channels on TV, which you have to pay a monthly thing for.
Oh, the Netflix and Hulu stuff, right?
Netflix and all things. I mean, there's so many of them, and it's all made to keep you inside. You want entertainment, put the TV on. Oh, you wanna check out a recipe? Oh, just go to Pinterest or something.
Right.
And instead
they don't want to people to think, because soon just a writing would be like an art in the future. To write even your own freaking name, it's gonna be for sure.
Scripts, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So getting back to the extra lands, getting back to the extra lands. Apart from the extra lands, here in the Celtics, it also mentions of other worlds, like in Celtic traditions, as evidenced by medieval texts. Besides that of land, especially islands across the sea, or even under lakes or oceans. Another is of a subterranean world reached via caves, burial mounds, and fairy hills. That's why in that part of the world, the Celtic culture, there's so much of this fairy and goblins and elves stuff also, sounds totally fairy tales and fantastic, but it comes from the roots. That's why we connect to that kind of world. Why? Because it's there, right? Like some Welsh tales describes a vast underworld which mirrors and socials and political order of our own. Like using the term Anfin, which may originally means underworld, or very deep. Like a Gaulish spell discovered in an ancient sepulchre in 1983 and dated it to the 1st century CE, contains the same term.
What is CE? Is that after creation?
CE.
Or before the flood?
No, BC. BC is supposed to be before, right?
BC is before Christ.
Before Christ.
And then CE, is that CE as in after the flood, or after creation?
Maybe some reference to the calendar or something.
Because I know that BCE. I can't find out. I have my poster, which what's the thing?
Yeah, the style of the spell shows a strong Greek influences in that.
Yes, carry on, because I have to roll out.
And it's been suggested that the practice of the Greek magic engendered a new Gallo-Brythonic conception of an underworld, that continue to influence the Celtic ideas about the afterlife. Like the subterranean other worlds, or at least passage to it, may have been inevitable from the practice of the votis sacrifice to chthonic deities in pits, lakes, rivers, and graves, as well as the existence of burial mounds from each earlier periods.
I see.
So how did the soul travel from this world to the next? A wide range of evidence from the ancient Europe suggests the belief that the soul was ferried across the waters to its final destination. Like in Greek mythology, Charon was a ferryman who took souls over the river Styx, given the payment of a coin. This may be a projection of the Greek myth into Celtic territory. Yep. So we can speak also about the calendar and how these people was so important for them, the movements, the celestial movements, right? Like the ancient Celts, sorry, I get mixed up, measured the cosmos in wheels, in spirals, in the movements of the stars, and the rising and the setting of the sun and the moon. To the Celt, the wheel or the spiral was a sacred. It was symbolized the creation and the constant spinning of the stars in the night sky. The seasons turned and returned each year like points on a giant wheel. And the stars in the heavens appeared to the wheels overhead. Turning on an axis. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to just say that there's a lot of pop culture songs that mention wheels in the sky. Journey happens to be one of those bigger bands, but there's a lot of them. We'll talk about the wheel in the sky. And Black Sabbath has an album called Spiral Architect.
Tina Turner, the wheels on the sky keep on turning.
Right.
Exactly. They put you right there in the face.
That's their job to do that too, guys, right? This is not by accident. These pop culture stars are singing about these things. It's just not cute. It's not like, oh, that makes like a nice song. That's not what they're doing.
Exactly. And the stars in the heavens appeared to wheel overhead, turning on an axis, which was the North Star. Axis. What is an axis?
It's a point where things turn.
Exactly. And what is turning?
The wheel is turning.
Exactly. And it's turning the wheel of the sky, right?
Yes, the constellations. I'm actually outside right now, but it's very cloudy.
Can you see the moon?
No, nothing, just clouds.
Okay.
So here again it's saying, speaking about the North Star, the importance of the North Star and the North Pole.
And that it hasn't moved from then till now, at least. Again.
Exactly. And this is supposed to be around, we're speaking about the 3,000 years. Yep. We are speaking around.
Great.
So the Celt believed that the North Star was the location of the heaven, and the apparent movement of the stars around this axis formed a spiral path, a stairway on which souls ascend to the afterlife. It's very important, that central tree. It's like you're climbing the tree, right?
Yeah, the tree was the connection to the heavens above.
Oh yeah.
A physical connection, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, that was the whole point of the Tower of Babel.
Right. And World Trade One.
You get into, yeah.
So to the ancient Celt, continuous spiral that appears to have no beginning or end signified that one cycle was always beginning as one cycle ended. The continuous expanding motion of the spiral also symbolized the ever-expanding nature of the wisdom and knowledge. It's literally speaking about the tree of life, and it's moving, it's moving, it's turning. Because also in the Vedic culture, they have similar, that the central axis connects all the luminaries in an invisible thread. And it's moving. And here in the Celtic, it's speaking with the star as a tree. And this is the magnetic, it's the toroidal field, it's the...
Yeah, you can think of the connection, the way that they join the constellations to make pictures. You can think that as the limbs and branches and twigs of the tree.
Exactly, it's just a different way of explaining the same thing, and the importance of that central axis, which is supposed to be a column, an energetic column, a magnetic column, whatever the people want to name it, or a tree of life, or the central tree, which is moving as the toroidal field. So it's trying to explain it in their own way, in their cosmology of how things work. And they're literally saying that there is that movement right there, which comes exactly the tree of life, the central tree, which goes and is moving from the underworld to the middle world to the upper world.
So you say it's moving, that means it's growing. Is that right?
It's moving, it's circling. That's
Wow.
why everything is circling above us. All the luminaries and all the so-called.
Wow.
So many of these symbols also appeared in like triplicate, which was seen as a sign of the divine. The seasons of the year were part of this cycle. The Celt based their calendar on the cycle of the moon instead of the sun. Exactly, they had 13 months. The Celtic year considered 13 months, 12 of which were roughly as the same as our modern months, and one extra 3-day make-up month leading into the new year. Each month was governed by a moon and had a sacred Ogham tree associated with it. So 13 months, because that makes 28.53 a month.
Right, times 13.
Exactly. And there are cosmologies which speaks about this 13th planet, or the 13th sign, or the 13th month. It exists as we spoke about in one of our podcasts about the 13 equals a B, let it be, remember?
Right.
Exactly. 13 moons. Zeus Scott says that. 13 moons. In the Gaelic, the names of the four seasons date back to pre-Christian times. Arach for the spring, Samrat for the summer, Foghara for the harvest or autumn, and Gemrat for winter. Yeah, they had quite well designed, in a way, because we know everything is in cycles, right? So the cycles, like any other cosmology, they were also observing, right? And that's why they had their own festivals, also different festivals relating, apart from this, what their words were for these winter, summer, the seasons, the changing of the time of the year.
Yeah, they had a god for the seasons. They were polytheistic, so they had a god just for the seasons.
Exactly, and for the solstices, for the equinox.
Yeah, they had a lot. They had like 400, I think, well over 300. It's just kind of cool. It's like, like if God was to appoint spirits for certain things.
Right.
Kind of like the principal handing down tasks to the teachers to give the students. That's how I assimilate a lot of these things to a school system here, because that's what I went through. So I see the similarities there. It's easy for me to
Go ahead.
No, it just makes it easier for me to understand and relate to it and have no problem thinking that way. Because I don't trust the school system. So when I see something that is important as this look like the school system, it just kind of sticks out to me that the similarities are there, and that's how I handle life, kind of.
Exactly. The Celtic calendar included two primary fire festivals, Samhain in the beginning of the winter and Beltane in the beginning of the summer, marking the movement from the dark into the light time of the year.
What was the fire one called?
Samhain.
All right, I see.
No.
Samhain.
It's in the beginning. When the summer starts or when the winter starts? Because Samhain, the beginning of the winter, and the Beltane is the beginning of the summer. So, for example, they have you have the two equinoxes, the spring and the autumn.
Right.
So that's the more or less their year starts.
It makes so much more sense. New Year's always bothered me too. Just like the stars never change position. New Year's like, right in the middle of winter. What are they doing? It's just never made any sense. It shouldn't make sense though. Right? Not supposed
exactly,
to.
And it is one of the how you say, the important part of the Celtic cosmologies is about their calendar. Is this starts, like, for them it's the important is that when it starts the spring too. It's very
Sure it is. That's agriculture then. That goes right into
and they even exactly, and they even have their own some gods that is born exactly when the sun cycle during the Christmas.
That. I hope this stuff spreads out more. I really do. These people had a beautiful way with nature and a harmonious life with animals and plants. I bet you too. They and the stars. They just understood things so much better. It seems. And you know, I remember talking about this stuff when I was younger, and we would explain it. I would say it. That was like their television. That's all they had to do was watch the stars. They didn't. So maybe it's a little bit of truth to that, but I think it's like way more important than television.
Oh yeah, because these Celts were fascinated by the magical in between places such as shorelines, forts, doorways, etc. Like these people,
right.
they had that entry exit to another world, and these places were neither in one way state or another. They were places of power. The shores is neither dry land nor is it in the sea. Yet it is the meeting place of the both.
That's pretty cool.
Right, and if one were to view the land as representative of our solid material world, and the sea as representative of the spirit world, we can see that the shore is a meeting place between the one world and the another.
Never thought of it like that.
The same is true of the in-between times or the portal holidays. That were neither one season or another, waxing or waning. The 8 major holidays on the Celtic wheels were magical, powerful days outside of the ordinary time. As such, they provided opportunities for druids and ordinary tribesmen alike to approach their supernatural ancestors, deities, and divine the future. Yeah, they were living very harmonically with the nature, and that's why, as any other culture, the cycles, the moon, the sun, they were the starting, as you were mentioning, the harvesting and the planting, and because it depended, their life depended on nature, or hunting or whatever. If they were doing hunting or gathering, or all depended upon the cycles, and the moon played definitely important part right there.
Wow, so they might have known that animals were following the moon and when to find those animals and where to find them at specific times. I wonder that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had a better communication with animals as well, plants and insects and stuff like that. The nature, all of it. I don't know if there was such a drastic separation like there is, or appears to be now, for the most part.
Exactly.
I was thinking if we could really talk to nature like we think we're talking right now, and they understood that we're here trying to create a better humanity, and there's people out there that are not and are willing to do harm if we do what we're doing. So if we could get in touch with nature, we could turn nature against these other entities and kind of have them help us out. That's what I would love to have happen. Can you imagine that?
That
would be cool, right? I think that would be a nice win for us. And a lot of people out there, they know. They talk to their dogs, they talk to their cats, they talk to their birds, and some people think it's a little deeper than that. And something created all of us, so maybe there's just a lost communication there that could really be true somewhere, sometime. Again. I've always thought that way my whole life. I still sometimes wake up and like, all right, is the world gone? Are we here yet? I just kind of laugh at myself, but you know, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
We're up against the lock. We got our hands full at this point.
Yeah, so the Samhain, what they celebrate is very similar celebration as the Halloween. So it's used to fall in the
Right.
same time.
That's Sam Hain. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought you were saying. Yeah, that's another name for. You know what? That was in the movie Halloween. When I first heard of that Sam Hain celebration was for Halloween. It was in that movie, and that's what brought Michael Myers back to life, or you couldn't kill him, or whatever it was. You see, this stuff is all throughout pop culture, guys. They really are telling us. Like I said, they're not doing this just to entertain us. They're doing this because they have to tell us.
Oh yeah.
And after
Yeah,
they tell us,
some
their karmic
yeah,
debt is gone now. They're like, we told them. So what do you want? They agreed. We told them. They agreed. They suffer. Kind of. So just be careful what you're watching and how you watch it. And
Exactly. And here it also mentioned like May Day, the modern observance of Beltane is that festival, another festival, is celebrated throughout the world. And Christmas is not actually the birthday of Christ, but a date chosen by the early Christian church and celebrated instead of to replace the older observance of the winter solstice. The early church hoped to convert greater numbers of people to the faith by absorbing the primary pagan holiday into its own ritual tradition. Here it mentions like this.
so again, it's just borrowed and replaced somewhere.
Exactly, and also in the Celtics, it mentioned because the Celtic is very similar to Norse, and in the Norse cosmology, Odin, one of the gods, sacrificed himself on Yggdrasil, on the tree of life, by hanging himself. Does it sound similar? Of hanging on a cross, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Christ, sorry.
Does it sound familiar? The sacrifice for humanity by hanging, because the tree of life is also a cross. So we are not trying to. We are just trying to show the similarity. We are not saying which is wrong and which is right. We're just showing the similarities, because what comes from where also, because it all comes from the same. All right. So it's not just say, hey, pagan, the word pagan, yeah, but if most of the celebration is similar to pagan, right? So what would be right to say if there was like paganism comes from Christianity or vice versa? So nothing is demonized, nothing is demon, nothing, and especially it's the way of living of human beings in their own way. If we have adopted most of their culture, so why to demonize it, right? Because it's just living in harmony with your surroundings. It's not like you are, everything is God to you, but it has essence of God in everything. Even a rock.
That's exactly what it is, bro. God put it all here. It's a beautiful place.
So yeah, it's sharing its compassion with everything around, right? That's the important, because there is no right way. Every way is the right way if you believe it, right? But it's not that is only the right way. It's not like that too.
Exactly, bro. We was just saying this last week that, you know, even if you got to do the same lesson over and over again, you're still in the right place because you're learning. You know, it's a weird. It's hard to explain, but yeah, you are in the right place. Could it be better? Maybe. Could it be worse? Yeah, maybe that too. But you're still in the right place. So forge ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're just like surfing a bit, you know, of everything there is to see in the Celtic cosmology, right? It goes so much in detail, and the people are going to flip out if they see the similarities of every other thing that is connected with Celtics or any other cosmology. It's crazy. It's so much in detail.
Yeah, it really is. It blew my mind. I tell you that.
Yeah, but the people will only be as a diet walk and would not look into it and would say, hey, this is that, this is this, this is that. No, it's not.
Pick and choose, kind of.
And there is also the Trinity and everything there too. Is there. I won't even, we'll get into it.
Also in that map is the four rivers, I think, right? I don't have that right in front of me. But I think I remember four rivers coming right out of the land.
Yeah. Guys, we're just going to take a short break, yeah? And we're going to continue.
Excellent.
Yeah, because we still have loads of stuff, yeah.
Cool.
Yes, I still have the creation myth story here. Short version.
My name is Joshua Silva. I am a licensed commercial pilot and flight instructor. I have had a lifelong love of aviation and aerospace, and when growing up I even fancied myself an amateur astronomer.
Number one, you know I'm a pilot, and when I used to fly out of Long Island towards Nantucket, bottom line here is they're going to give you some type of formula for every 100 miles. They're going to give you some type of XYZ per kilometer squared.
Been in aviation for 21 years. Anything from helicopters to aerostats to big birds, little birds, fighter jets, things with engines, no engines, big blades, little blades, compressor blades.
I woke up to the truth of the flat earth, shape of the earth, as an engineer and a pilot.
I'm a merchant marine. I've been sailing 15 years. I graduated from the Paul Hall Maritime Center out of Piney Point, Maryland. I primarily sail on container ships, tankers, drill ships, military cargo vessels, you name it, I can sail on it.
Work experience. I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I had a secret security clearance. There's different levels of security clearance. There's a lower level, then there's a secret, which is what I had.
I'll be providing my in-depth experience of U.S. Navy submarines and how they prove we do not live on a globe Earth. However, due to the nature of my job and the security clearance that I hold, I wish to remain anonymous.
Hey, welcome back, guys, to the show. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. Kasakai Tava, we got Zeus Scott, Eamo,
Hey guys.
J Daddy, Namaste. Then you have Queen M. And then there is John C. Oddity. Yeah. Who else? Queen M, Angel of Elevation, Ice Wall Flatter. Yep, Evelyn is also there. All right, welcome back to the show, guys. We have Jean and Evelyn with us tonight. And yeah, the Celtic cosmology. Amazing, yeah. So the Celtic cosmologies, so what does that mean? I mean, like, what even is the Celtic cosmologies? Cosmology in a way which a culture, what is cosmology like in reality, right? Like the cosmology is in a way, is the way in which a culture views the world. It's the way in which it sees how the world is structured. And its creation and origins. So all the cosmologies we discussed, it's literally, it's the race is trying to explain their world. And we saw that in most of them, what they really describe their world to be. So,
Hey, this reminds me, Vika, of like all of these different cultures had such a similar story, and we're going through that also right now with all these agencies telling the same creation story, the Big Bang, right?
exactly, because no one is saying about a Big Bang other than NASA, right? So,
right. No, it's just the past 500 years or so, really, that really took stronghold on everybody in society, it seems. At least that's what it seems to be, right?
Yeah, and it was first introduced as a theory, as the evolution, the Big Bang theory, evolution theory,
Yeah,
theory of gravity, theory of what do you call it? Anyway, all the theories.
Right, and they still are.
They still are theories. Yeah, it's not even a good theory because there's so many gaps that they can't fill in because they just jump from one point to the other. Like the theory of evolution. I mean, they jump from species to species, from monkey to evolved monkey. But in between, what was in between? So.
Right. And where are the feathered hippos with wings? Nothing evolved into that, right? There's no.
Yeah.
There's just birds. Mostly birds have wings and feathers.
I once heard in a was a long time ago. I mean, even before flat Earth or whatever. But I've always been into the scientific side of how your body works and all that, the chemicals and genes and they were saying about cells. Cells will only reproduce when they have a certain. They will reproduce exactly what they themselves are. So they have bits of information to produce another cell. So if you want to evolve to make something new, you would need an extra bit of information. Where would they get that from? Because you can only reproduce exactly, the cell can only reproduce exactly itself.
Right.
So it can't reproduce what it doesn't have.
Right. That's like natural selection works to decline numbers, not increase numbers.
Yeah. Yes, because if you think of evolution, you would think of an animal or a living thing actually meeting its mate, which is actually on the same level of
same evolutionary level.
Evolution,
right?
So that they would create a better version of them. And I mean, if that could that would be so big coincidence to actually find a mate that is on the same level.
Right.
If that can happen with one pair, I mean, there's thousands of pairs of that same species. Are they all in the same level of evolution?
Yeah, exactly.
No, because
all
of them are different. So everybody would have a different genetical variation. So they would actually not evolve into something better. It would always
because
it would be some sort
cancel
of
each other out, sort of.
in reality, the human race known to us, all the 5 colors or whatever we want to call it. In reality, we all have the same genetics. It's just the variation of because of our geographies, right?
Yeah, that's all phenotype. Yeah.
That's it. Because there is a mix. There's a mix of everything. Everything is really mixed. If you dig in deeper in genetics with all the ancestry of all the human race, there is a mix of everything, you could imagine.
And genetically, we're all the same. Only the phenotype is different. That is, how you express the genes is different.
Exactly.
And that is all how to say bepaald. That comes from your genetic background, how you're gonna affect the different genes in your mitochondria, in your genes, in your DNA.
Exactly. So we get back to the topic. It's like the Celtics also had the concept that the earth is surrounded by a huge sea. And in the center of the earth is a huge tree, the world tree. And the tree stretches from the earth into the heavens. And its roots goes down beneath the earth and into the underworld. Now, at the base of the tree is a spring, and that spring feeds the tree. And the spring, in turn, is fed by the vast sea that is surrounding the earth. And within that sea lies a great serpent, and that serpent represents chaos. And the sea represents chaos. So the sea of chaos is feeding the spring, which in turn feeds the tree. So the tree is fed from the springs of the sea of chaos. You guys are getting it? Zeus God says Kundalini. Exactly. So it's trying to represent, like this feeding of the spring, the tree, everything is living between the three levels, and is connected. It's feeding that sea water is feeding that spring, so that tree can be alive. All right. So the gods take chaos and they create order. So that's why it's called order from chaos. It's literally, the word comes from there, from the Celtic text. Order out of chaos. So it's a cycle of the chaos feeding the order, and the order feeding the chaos. The yin and the yang, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Right. There's a duality that hasn't been really around in this one.
So there's a thing, the gods meet at the base of the tree and they create order from the chaos. And that order is the structure of the universe. So the whole universe is the order created by the gods, which is fed by the chaos. So when things die, they turn into fruits and nuts on the branches of the tree. And the branches of the tree, they reach out over the seas and they drop into the sea. And therefore, order represented by the trees feed chaos. It's a way of explaining how it's feeding back to chaos. So you see the representation there? What's happening in a way of this whole cycle of life continuing over and over again?
I like the order side of it over the chaos. I think I've seen parts of both.
Exactly, but it's important because one feeds off each other. So the seas being chaos, feeding the tree and being transformed by the gods into a structure, and so chaos feed order, and order in turn feeds chaos. So another important thing to know about the world tree, is that it is considered to be the axis mundi of the world. And what that means is that it was thought to be a wheel axle. With the tree running up to the heavens and down through the land and into the underworld. And the heaven would turn on its axis. So it was the tree that was the axle of the cosmos. Literally defining the world more simple and clear. And it was the interconnection between the heavens and the earth and the underworld, all in the Norse, all in the Celtics. Very similar to the 9 worlds of the Norse. Very similar. So this concept of the tree has belonged to a number of Indo-European cultures, and so for the Celtic culture as well. We all know that the Celtics venerated trees, and the trees are very important to the Celts. We also know that the Celts had their threefold ideas of the world, that of the sky, that of the earth, and that of the underworld. They would erect the pillars in place of the trees. There are also So this representation of the tree, they show also in different structures, in different places. So there are buildings whose entire structure is based around the central pillar, and we know that, like in the Celtics, that this was representative of the sacred tree, the world tree. And it's also true that there are many places of sacred sites of the Celtics. There seems to be evidence of pillar or post, which actually represents the tree of life or the world tree. Especially the central tree, the great central tree. And there's a type of construction that you can find in different places, like in France and many different places you can find, which is called Gaulish pillar. It's a pillar with a Jupiter on the top and the serpent from the sea. Like it's fighting, it's creating the order out of chaos. You can look for it. It's called Gaulish pillar of Jupiter, it's called. And that pillar is representing the central tree, the tree of life. With these two, with the Jupiter fighting the sea of serpents and creating order out of chaos. And at the bottom of that structure, you have the 4 cardinal points and the seasons marked. And that kind of structure can be found in many places. So even, and the obelisk could be a representation of the tree of life or the world tree.
That's funny you bring up an obelisk. I was just thinking, isn't there something on a American dollar that's something in Latin that says order out of chaos, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Right? Oh, yeah.
It's on the back of the dollar.
Exactly. Or
with the
something it says about the New World Order also, but it's also about order out of chaos.
Right.
They use this term a lot because they think they are gods. Exactly. They're trying to create the chaos and then creating the order, and then again the chaos. They know that because this all is ancient wisdom, right? It's right there.
And
it's like making or creating the sickness to then offer the solution.
Yeah, don't go so deep with that topic. Yeah, go ahead, but go ahead.
Yeah, that was.
Or many other aspects of creating
a problem and then offering a solution.
Right. That's the Hegelian dialect. Problem. They create the problem. They wait for the reaction so they know what the solution is. Because it depends how the people react, how they're going to react to the solution, right? So they have several solutions, several problems, several solutions depending upon the reaction of the people. So, yeah, this is what they're doing. Wow.
Oh, yeah. And then there's also representation of different trees. You know, they was so important for the Celts, the trees. They had different trees, like in representative of chieftain trees, like they were sacred for them. The bile tree. And they have their 5 sacred trees. Like in Ireland, there's supposed to be 5 sacred trees. That 4 represents the cardinal direction of the earth, and the 5th represents the center, the central tree. So you guys know that even the Stonehenge have connection with the Celtics.
Right.
So imagine how important it is for them, the geostationary realm, right?
It is, you know, and there's a famous movie. It was a comedy about rock musicians being on tour and some of the mistakes that happened. And one of the mistakes was the guy's giving the description for a stage prop, and he wanted Stonehenge, and he wanted dwarfs dancing around it to celebrate the Celts, right? And in the description, he's writing it on a napkin, and instead of writing, the little line for foot, he wrote 2 lines for inches. And the stage prop came in like a little tiny toy, and they would talk about the Druids in that little scene there, and how like they were very mysterious people. Nobody really knew who they were, what they were doing. I just think of the pop culture I've seen this stuff in all the time, and how that's really in my face, and we're all watching it. I don't watch a lot of TV much anymore, really, but stuff in the past. It's all over the place. It's crazy. I love it. I want to see more of it in real life. Though. I want to see more of these things from my memory and pop culture.
Exactly. That's why in the Celtic cosmology, you see there's a lot of evidence where people venerate the lakes and the waters as if they were entrances against to the underworld, or the sea and the land over the underworld. Like for them, this kind of places were very special because it was portals. They were like portals to another realms.
So I wonder now if that's what all the tunnels in the world, not all of them, but I wonder if any of the tunnels in the underground have anything to do with this now. Because there's tunnels like all over the place. I don't know where, of course, but the rumors I've heard are like, wow, bullet trains going from New York to California in like 12 minutes, or 20 minutes, or whatever it is, something crazy we can't do right now on a plane. But they do have tunnel boring machines that can dig like, I don't know how fast these things dig, like a mile a week or something crazy. They're really advanced, and they're not little tunnels. I mean, you could fit a house inside them, kind of. Wow. So maybe they're looking for stuff like that down there. I don't know, because it's certainly not, what is it, 9,000 miles till you get to the center. Right? What is it, 6 or something? It's not like that. And besides, the deepest hole ever dug was only 9 miles anyway. But the tunneling system is throughout. Just makes me wonder. Because they're up to something, and there's always a multiple purpose behind what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, they know all these things. They have decoded it, and they use it in a way, to their.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They know. Of course, they know. That's why I wonder, because they do know, and we could probably figure it out. Hopefully, I think we are getting more people together. And the more people that understand these things, the less people will be willing to put up with what they're doing and figure out ways. And there are ways to stop having to deal with them. There's way more of us than there are of them, though.
Yeah. It's awesome, yeah, because they were so much based on the nature, right? So they know the Celtics, like any other culture, knew what the hell they were doing, right? So, and I love it how well for them, how well they are attached to that world tree, to this central north, like as we spoke about in many cultures, that the importance, and here we see it in so much of depth, that the importance of that world tree.
Yeah. Wonder what it is, really. You know, maybe it's all the abilities that we used to have that more enhanced back then. You know, what do they say? They give us 5 senses right now, right? Isn't that what they say? Still,
You're right.
but I would disagree with that. Maybe that's why they teach us, just to keep us there. Yeah, you only got 5 senses. Here they are. Aren't they great?
Oh yeah, there is so many other. We know that, right? The telepathy is real.
Absolutely. Clairvoyance.
Exactly. It's just extensions of other senses, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, think of the other senses. They're basically physical, and they can be reproduced physically. So it makes me think some of the other ones that they're not talking to us about, maybe the same thing. We could be doing these things. I believe that. I think we've all had little windows of opportunity to see that stuff too. I bet you. Like, you know, the phone call of someone that you just thought about, you haven't seen in years. You know, stuff like that. Pretty fascinating, and like everybody remembers when stuff like that happens. It's like, wow. And I really do. I think we have.
There is no casuality, brother. It's
Right.
all is
Right. It's right. Design and very meaningful. So, yeah, you know, when I saw that as a kid, I latched onto that kind of world. So it's still fun.
But we know about remote viewing, right? Remote viewing is something very similar, and it's a science, right?
Yes.
If you put it in a scientific way, the people would believe it. But if you speak about telepathy, they say, "Oh, this guy's out of his mind." But it's nothing. It's just, you know, we humans are made in a way to communicate other than words, right? So people literally do it. You know, the people who practice, they literally do it. You can literally think about somebody and send a message, and there are possibilities that the person literally hears you. You know, it's because as you spoke, there's many times that you feel like, you know, that somebody's around, or maybe you think of a friend suddenly and that friend calls you, or see somewhere, you know, or whatever. It's because there is a connection, you know, energetic, you know, energy wise, you know. So even if some of your friends maybe somewhere around you, or you don't want to see your friend, or the friend don't want to see you, but you feel that you feel the person around you, right?
Yeah.
Or some thought, is because we are energetic beings, you know. Even when we do this podcast, and as we spoke about, like the electric, you know, we are energy. So, and we are electric, magnetic. So all this, we feel it. We feel when we speak, even though it's true electronically, the signal is passing all these 1,000 miles through the fiber optic cables and reaching there or coming back. We feel it. We feel in reality, like we feel that it's here. We are the energy, the feeling. It passes on.
That's a cool way to put it, Vikka, because you know, like we've said also that, you know, if the radio waves are also right here in front of us too, we don't need them, so we don't use our radio right now, but they're here, and so is the energy from everybody all over the place, right? My energy's there, and all your energy is here also.
Exactly.
It's
exactly like a radar. Exactly, a
Right.
human mind. In a way, it's trying to detect its environment and everything. So there are more senses trying to survive in that environment, right?
Right.
Because all these things become important once you are without physical technology. When you have to really survive in this world, like, you know, nature organically, you need those senses, right?
Exactly. And think of how bad school and TV and commercials and food all dull your senses. We were talking about that earlier, right, Vikka? I ate stuff
Yeah.
this weekend I don't usually eat, and I'm like in a food comatose almost. I'm just like, wow. I have, just having a hard time shaking it off. Wasn't a lot of fun, and I don't think it was really worth it.
Oh yeah.
But now, so you take that little scenario where I don't eat a lot, and all of a sudden I ate a lot in one day of something I really don't eat a lot ever. Does that combination, and look what it did to me. So now imagine if I could get used to that again. So does that mean I'm just going to walk around in a food comatose all the time and just not even know it? Right? That's what could be going on. Look at that. How many countries are banning GMOs versus we're banning labeling them? That's nice.
Oh yeah. But we won't get into that.
Right.
Because
I'm sorry. Just
some words we know, right? So
yeah.
So the same like a remote viewing, it is one of our senses which helps us to perceive without words. So there are many others. So even the people who practice astral projection, for example, it's also kind of a remote viewing, but in another level. Okay, it's science, it's technology integrated, organic, and we humans, how everything we take from the nature. So this is supposed to be also kind of a technology. People use different ways to do that astral projection or outer body experience, but it's a way of using the technology. So as we were speaking about that, these extra lands, according to the Celtics, that you could reincarnate to be in that other part of the land. So there are possibilities without literally, like, going to the other side. The people do out of body experience in a ceremonic or ritualistic way. So what is it? It's nothing else than a technology, and people do access different planes, different realms, underworld, subterranean world, upper world. It's nothing freaking demonic about it. It's just the humans have that possibilities to access everything that all this ancient culture mentions about all these worlds and all the folklore and everything that exists, and all the fantasy. The people think that is fantasy about even being like the animals like dragons and mutants and whatever you could imagine. So there is truth to many different places like Atlantis, Shambhala, Pandora. So it's just so it's just one other sense that a human being uses to the pineal gland and access this information and visit these other realms. But the majority, the 95% of the human race, will not even make it more than 9 to 5 and to just do few other things and to the next life, right? But there are people who do connect. These are all different frequency and vibration, because what we are seeing right now in this three-dimensional is just a frequency and vibration, we including ourselves. So we could change the frequency and dimensions, the frequency and vibration, and we can perceive, like how we perceive this, we perceive the rest, because we are three-dimensional beings, but we see things in two-dimensional. Right? We see, okay, some meters around us, we see in three-dimensional, but further, everything is 2D. So the ones who are in 2D, they see in 1D. The same thing, it just goes on. The ones who are in the 4D, they see 3D and 2D and 1D, right? So it's just a different realm, different planes, right? We are just so much off topic, but yeah, it's part of the conversation, because I think we almost covered the most of the Celtic stuff. And the tree of life also represents the toroidal field, right? The up and the down.
Yeah, that's where the stars are fixed onto.
Exactly. And the importance of that tree of life in ourselves, that light, is more important message of most of the culture and cosmology. That representation also is there of divine through that central north, to that.
I have a little story here, Celtic creation story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I'm just gonna read out from the text. Once upon a time, when there was no time, no gods or humans walked the surface of the land. There was the sea, and where the sea met the land, a mare was born. So it's a horse, white and made of sea foam, and her name was Aoka. Not far from where the land met the sea, a tree grew, a strong and sturdy oak. On the oak grew a plant whose seeds were formed of the foam tears of the sea. To sustain her, Aoka ate the seeds. These white berries, they were transformed within her. Aoka grew heavy with child and gave birth to the god Cernunnos. So great was her pain in childbirth that she ripped bark from the one tree and hurled it into the sea. The bark was transformed by the sea and became the giants of the deep. Cernunnos was lonely, and he saw the giants of the deep, who were numerous. So he coupled with Aoka, and of their union came the gods Maponos, Taronis, and Teutates, and the goddess Epona. Aoka soon tired of the land, being a creature of sea foam, and she returned to the sea, where she was transformed into Tethra, goddess of the deep water, also known as Tethys. The gods and goddesses were lonely, for they had none to command or worship them. They took wood from the oak tree and fashioned the first man and the first woman. Cernunnos also made other animals from the oak tree, the deer and the hound, the boar and the raven, the hare, the snake. He was god of the animals, and he commanded the oak tree to spread and grow into vast forests, to serve as a home for his children. Epona also made animals, but she made only the horse alike, mare and stallion, in remembrance of Aoka, who was no more. Teutates took limbs from the one tree and fashioned a bow, arrows, and a club. Taronis took limbs from the one tree and fashioned thunderbolts made of fire and noise. He would leap to the top of the tallest trees and hurl his weapon at the ground. The ground would shake, the grass would burn, and the animals would run in fear. Maponos also took limbs from the tree, but he fashioned not a weapon, but a harp. He stretched strings of wind from its limbs and spent his days in Cernunnos forest. The winds and the birds would join in the melodies, and all Cernunnos animals would come from near and far to hear Maponos play. The giants of the deep saw the gods and goddesses happy on the land, and the giants were very envious, for they had nothing to command, nothing to worship. So the giants plotted against the gods. They would overwhelm them with the sea and take the land under the water. But Tethra in the deep sea heard the murmuring of the giants in the waves, and she remembered her days as a yoka, and so she warned her sons and daughter. The gods were prepared the day the giants came against them. The gods took refuge in the oak tree. Tyronis hurled his thunderbolt and split the land, and the sea overflowed its boundaries. Maponos broke the sky and hurled it at the giants. Totate's deadly aim with the bow and arrows from the one oak tree cut down many of the giants. The giants of the deep were not without weapons. They had the strength of the waves. The gods overwhelmed the giants, but could not destroy them. The giants of the deep were driven back into the sea, and Tethra bound them in the deep waters. But a few escaped Tethra and fled far from her reach. They called themselves the Fomhoi, and built a life on the outer edges of the world. But the Fomhoi dreamed of conquest and vowed to once again take the land from the gods. On their latter battles, our histories tell us much. The sea returned to its bed, and Maponos repaired the sky. The gods then searched for Epona, who had been absent from the victory. Epona had rescued one man and one woman from the watery and fiery destruction, and the three of them waited deep in Cernunnos forest. From this man and this woman, Epona saved would come our mighty people. The god and the goddess left the deep of Cernunnos forest and returned to their home near the one tree of oak, which still stood strong and sturdy, and the sacred berries were still white as sea foam. When the fiery pieces of heavens Maponos had torn from the sky had mingled with the waters of the sea, there were born new gods. The god Belenus and his sister Danu sprang from where the heavenly fire had been but little quenched. The god Lear sprang from where the waters of the sea had almost quenched the fire of heaven. From Lear, as the histories tell, there would come the mighty Mananan, the beautiful Branwen, the wise Bran. But from Danu many children would come, the Dagda, Nuada of the silver hand, the wise Dinsect, the smith Goibio, the fearsome Morrigan, the gentle Brigid. The children of Danu and the children of Lear are the two mighty races our songs tell of. So.
Oh yeah.
That was nice.
Awesome. Yeah, Zeus God was saying Haeka is a sacred clown, Evelyn. And then J Daddy says the sacred clowns were spiritual warriors by and large, shamans, deep, not like the clowns of today. Exactly. The jesters, the wizards, right? And then there's Effination also. Hey, Effination. The Haika and the Lakota name is a memory serve, my man. Yeah, they all share. So you guys know that the tree of life, the symbol of tree of life, is a Celtic symbol. You see, it's such an important symbol, the tree of life, because it shows the branches, the surface, and it shows the roots, which are equally big. So we are speaking about a gigantic, because we know that how big is the tree, how deeper are the roots, and they're almost equal. So it's almost literally representing the toroidal field and the importance of toroidal field. So what I also wanted to mention in regarding to that toroidal field is the word toro, T-O-R-O, toro in Spanish means a bull, right? Maybe maybe Evelyn might have heard if you were in Spain sometime. Like
Yeah, I speak
toro.
Spanish fluently. Yes.
Yeah, so toro is bull. We all know that.
Yeah.
So also an ox. So we have Toronto, right? It's a place. Toronto. It's the word is there. The etymology of Toronto. Then you have the Oxford. We are speaking about the importance of this toroidal field and the toroidal in itself and the importance, right? So we have the Oxford. We have what else have we got? Torah, right?
The Torah.
Torah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the meaning of Bible? Many people love to preach about the Bible, but can they literally tell the etymology of the word Bible?
I can't. I don't know.
No, that's an English word which comes
Yeah, but
from the I think it comes from the same Latin word as bibliotheca, bibliothèque, meaning knowledge.
right, could be one of the definition. Yeah.
Yeah, in Dutch you have you say bibliotheek. Bibliotheek is
Yeah, library.
library.
Yeah.
So
biblioteca. Yeah, right. It's a library. It's one of the definitions. Yeah, it's one of the definitions. Yeah. So there are many people who literally push Bible.
Yeah.
But they don't really understand what is Bible. Okay? Bi means by. It's two. Bilingual, bisex. So Bible means two bull. What is the two bull? The toroidal fields.
Oh wow.
Okay? And how important it is for us, that toroidal field that exists, and everything else is a whole toroidal field, right? And the importance of that light, which needs to go also to the pineal gland, right?
The tree of life is almost an exact replication of it.
Exactly.
It's like so little difference. It's just the imagery might throw you off, but it's exactly representing it.
Exactly. And Moses, when he went up to the mountain, he was speaking with the burning bush, right?
Right.
It's supposed to, that exact bush is supposed to contain some psychedelic stuff, right? It's crazy. It's all about. This doesn't maybe sound like fantasy, but I'm not making these things up. Go and look it for yourself. The etymology of every word and every meaning of the whole concept of Bible or any other cosmology, because it's all about that kingdom within us. That kingdom is within us.
The answers
about
are
each
in
and
the
every one.
plants.
Yeah, that's why when we were speaking the last time about the 33 and everything connected with the bringing up the whole liquid that comes to your pineal gland, it's the same presentation, or the kundalini or the chakra. Again, now the people would start calling it demonized. But how can it be? Because it's saying the same thing in another way. It's literally there in the name of the book. Bible, to bull.
In the Oxford language dictionary, a tor, T-O-R, is means a hill or rocky peak. So that would comply with the tor, the hill or rocky peak in the middle, in the center, in the north, as Mount Meru. That's the English translation of Thor. So.
Okay, so the Solomon temple, right? The Solomon temple, Sol and Moon temple.
Yes.
We get it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's just the representation of the luminaries. Heliocentric. Hell is... It's crazy.
Centric.
Helio is another word for sun. So heliocentric, as in the sun in the center.
So the meaning there is Elohim is I am Helio. So the Elohim is the sun.
Oh, I can see that being twisted around. Wow.
So the people take out whatever other context of things that are right there. The two eyes, Isis, Jesus is the same. The connections, it's endless. There are endless connections. But the people prefer to take it out of context and push it in a different way. Because as I mentioned, all this can be found in the parts of Bible that is not, people don't look into it. It's all there. It's all there. We can go word by word. The tree, the importance of the tree too, and the serpent, right? And the apple, right?
You know, they were pretty slick to keep it in the story too, like their story, because you see this stuff all over the place, but it's just represented wrong. So that's how people hold on to it, keep it like it's just fantasy, never happened, and they made it up.
Exactly, because the teachings, the eternal teachings about all cosmology is the same. It's that the window to the world is through you. The way to God is through me, through every individual. That's the message, but don't take it in the wrong way.
You know, and I bet you a lot of people even understand this, but they don't see it this way.
They don't want to see it. They don't want to see it because
no,
this thing
because
is not hidden. This thing is not hidden, but they don't want to see it.
No, because you know what? And there's kind of like spiritual ramifications to it, and a lot of people just don't believe in things they don't see. So they'll look at that deja vu and that clairvoyance that they do have as a fluke, like, oh wow, and that they believe that they cannot participate in it, but I don't think that's true. If you don't believe, half of it's believing it, right? Half of it is thinking you can. So if more people were at least to maybe even try to do stuff like that and prove it to themselves, I think that could go a long, long way. And, you know, I wanted to mention too, when you was talking about astral travel, that lucid dreaming is a lot of fun and can lead you into places like that pretty easily. And lucid dreaming is really easy. It just takes a little practice if you look into it. If you're into that, it's pretty simple. And I think most of these little tricks that we're not taught are really pretty simple. And we just don't know and might not ever think to apply something over there instead of where we're taught to apply things. So.
Exactly. Because it's a part we need to explore that. And the other thing I wanted to mention was Jesus didn't create water into wine. But what is the real meaning of water into wine? Because water, if you take the W and flip it, it becomes matter, right? Jesus created matter from matter into mind instead of, it's just a way of putting it there. People like, oh, the wine, oh, let's drink a lot of wine. Wow. No, there's a meaning behind it. Matter into mind.
That's cool. Yeah, you see the simple flip there? I never would have thought of that, but that's pretty cool. That's really
that's
cool.
Changing scriptures.
It's all there in every word, every word that is connected with all this, have that etymology there for you to see it. If you have the eyes to see, right? 2 eyes to look, and 1 eyes to see.
That's right. But you know, it's just like they taught us to get our answers from these people, these you know, the higher ups or whatever you want to call them, teachers, politicians, stars, commercials, doctors. But I think most of those answers are absolutely within us. That, you know, don't look outside for answers, I guess. Ultimately, if you concentrate on something with enough heart, with the right heart, and you concentrate enough, you get your answers.
Oh yeah, it's a law. It's a law of attraction. It's the one of the most also important teachings of supposed to be of the Bible is the law of attraction. But for many, this is all witchcraft. This is all demonic. It's not, because it comes from the same book. But it's unfortunate that you couldn't read that part of the book. Why? Because there are interests that you don't read that part of the books.
Right.
And the ones they want you to read and the effect is making is that what it's been happening and it's going to happen till the people really go and see the other parts. Right?
That's how I feel. You know, it's almost like a collaborative concerted effort we need to have. You can't do it by yourself because, we're here together. So we got to do it together. But they got so much influence. I really think that's what it is. It's their influence over everyone got them in a mindset. And that's where they choose to stay. It's comfortable there, I guess.
If you're going to twist the truth and lay it out there for the effect they want the people to have, that's what is going to happen, brother. So,
right.
And that's what is happening because
exactly. Yeah.
As I mentioned also about the mudras and all the hand signs and everything that is being used, everything
Right.
by the use that has been demonized by the rest has a meaning and has an importance, a very, very important importance for the humans to.
What, Evelyn, is there some kind of wind going on?
Are you outside, Evelyn? Because we have some wind.
No. Oh, maybe it's the dog. She breathes a bit too heavily.
Yeah.
Hello, doggy.
Yeah, she snores a bit.
Because there's so much of other stuff related with this etymology of all the, like, it's crazy.
I like to bring up, we mentioned it plenty of times, but I would bring it up every other week if it needed to be. But, the relation between humans and nature, I've heard that when you're planting your seeds to put your saliva on them and maybe even say a little prayer to them. And what happens is that the seed will read your DNA and understand what it needs to make for you to help better you personally in the way that it can. So I'm not sure if that's true, but I love that idea. And what's wrong with doing something like that and trying it? So, and if that's true, look at that one little tiny piece of information alone. Look what they took away from us without telling us that. That would, and I could believe that's true. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm saying if that's true, that is so super incredible.
Yeah, they have taken most of it and put it right in our faces, and they just took it in another context, and the people don't get it, even if it's everything right there. The same thing as we spoke about the importance of astrological movements and everything related to the astrology and astronomy.
Right.
And what effect it makes on us human beings.
Yeah, to be
and all those cycles and all those numbers and all those everything that's related to it, all that maths. It's very important because math, we see how in nature we have the Fibonacci sequence. It's all math. It's all repetitions. It's all cycles, and it's all in, how we could say, in terms of vibrations and frequencies. Right? Because, for example, as we spoke about also the sound, like the last time, right? That it's very important. Sound creates everything. And that frequency and vibration could create also electricity. And we see the connection between the electricity and the magnetism also, in a way, right?
Oh, they're very connected. You can't have electricity without magnetism. Now, I don't know if you can have magnetism without electricity, but it makes me wonder.
I think it works. I don't know if we already have mentioned this, but I will say it again in case. About when you plug the electric speaker, the current goes, and moves the magnet, and that creates a vibration, and the sound comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So the same way, the opposite could work, from sound turning into magnetic, and the magnetic turning into electric.
Right. Right. And I'm pretty sure of this, but I think this is right. Every speaker could be a microphone, and every microphone could also be a speaker. I think they're interchangeable. I think so.
Exactly. So the sound creates magnetics, and the magnetic creates electric. So we are actually not in an electromagnetic world. We are in a magneto-electric world. That would be the right way to put it, because of the importance of the sound and magnetic and electric. We already spoke about in our podcast about all the electric things, about the sun, moon, and everything, right? So,
right. And you said with sound, right? What does science say the beginning was? Big Bang. That's a sound, right? A little descriptive there.
Exactly. A bang, boom, right?
Yeah, right, yeah. Interesting how they have it like dangling right in front of us, and they laugh at us. It's okay.
Exactly. That's why we see all the patterns in the nature, right? Also a cactus and all the different things, the shells. It's all having that vibrational frequency, and it's all in numbers too, and we also spoke about the sacred geometry last time, that is also interconnected with everything, with all this toroidal field, and so it's very important, the sound, the frequency, and the vibration. It's very important for us human beings to interact also with the surroundings, other than our normal senses, so
it's funny though, because it makes me wonder where, numbers, were they invented or were they discovered? Because if they were invented, then they were probably invented because of what they knew, right? And this is what they knew. These are the things they knew that they created everything else from. They didn't just create things to be creative, kind of, right? They created it as a diversion information from what we really ought to be thinking. So how do the numbers fit in? Did they discover them? Was it like the metals that was an angel? Were they given to us, shown how to use? I don't know. Numbers are interesting. And there's tricks to math where you could do really quick math in your head, and it's just tricks. It's just little tricks of doing things a different way. And what they do with kids in Japan, I think they give little kids an abacus, right? That's an abacus, if you don't know, is one of those little devices that stands there. It's got beads, rows of beads, and you push the beads from one side to the other and do math on that. So they give these kids the abacus, and they get so fast on them, and they give them simple equations and to do on the abacus. And you picture yourself sitting there working an abacus on your desk. It's standing in front of you. So what they do then is they take the abacus away, and the kids do the finger motions in midair, but they still do the problem in their head. So they're moving their fingers, but they're doing these crazy equations in their head because they can do it on the abacus, and now they just don't need the abacus anymore because it's just not necessary. They understand where things would go if it was there. I thought that was so cool, and I like doing that. trying to.
Oh yeah, the numbers are really important. The numbers are really not these fake maths these people use with the formulas to define
Right.
crap. That's not the real maths. The real math, the real geometry.
Right.
It's the language of nature. It's so important. Now again, any other diet walk would say, hey, this is again it's demonic and whatever. The numerology. The numerology is another. It's the same thing. It's the language of nature of describing the same way as the Fibonacci sequence or whatever, the movements of the celestials and it's all. There's a lot happening with numerology. It's very important the day you were born, the total sum of your birthday, the life paths, and the combination of numbers that appears. It's all very important. And so it could be a really important guide because you could have harmonic days for you, harmonic colors, harmonic
Right.
months, harmonic years, harmonic food, harmonic crystals, because everything is related. It's
Absolutely, bro. Everything. Harmonic conversations.
exactly. And the
everything.
cycles that things when it's not supposed to happen, it doesn't happen, and the thing when it's supposed to happen, because it's all on the cycles of the sun, the moon, your own cycle, the numbers. It's a lot of things happening. From being 1 to 9 or the 11, 22, 33, right? That's why it's so important of that 33 and all this Masonic stuff, because it's all masters numbers. 11,
L.
22, and 33. They've all hijacked it, right? This is all science. This is no magic. This is no. It's just.
It is what it is. 33 always reminds me of, ice is from 32 degrees below, and 33.
Exactly. That's the point there. And why the 33 is fine, and the why you stand on 33, and there is many other connection with 33.
Yeah, it's where water flows again.
Exactly.
And like you said, nothing's really there's no accidents. There's no mistakes going on, really.
Oh yeah. So when the two tower stuff, remember, I don't want to use the exact word. When the two tower stuff happened, it was supposed to be the age of Aquarius, start of the age of Aquarius, because there are so many things with 11 going on there, right? So many things. The plane number, the many things, the street, the many things. It's all part of the game, right? So what is numerology, right? All right, guys. The thing is, we could have gone forever, but I am just going really out of power here. So maybe we continue this in our next podcast, guys. We covered few things which we were not supposed to cover, but yeah. Thank you guys for being here. And Celtic, yes, the Celtics, amazing. No different than any other cosmologies. So, and amazing representation and definition of the world tree, the axis, the wheel, whatever you want to call it, the tree of life. One of the deepest explanation about the central north, which have importance equally in all other cosmologies in detail, right? And here it's done amazingly. So awesome. The Celtics cosmology, 3 levels. Beautiful. Guys, we're going to have last thoughts and we're going to wrap up, yeah?
Yeah, I had a great time, bro. This one blew my mind away. This is a really nice story and so much detail to it. We could go like have another few shows just on this one alone, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. We didn't even touch few things of importance, the
Yeah.
connections. Yeah.
No, we did. We went off a little bit. It was kind of fun too, but
Yeah.
this is great. So maybe we could even throw another show together about this one and go through some of the other similarities. I like the differences too. Some of the differences were pretty cool. And there's so many names we could have touched on, but there was a lot. There was a lot. Good show. Thanks everybody for being here. Hope you had fun, and maybe you could bring this up to some of your basketball friends who are Celtic fans and break the ice there a little bit or something. All right? It's these stories are throughout pop culture in so many areas in depth. They're just grazed, like glanced upon in some shows or whatever, movies and songs and stuff. So, well, I hope you had a lot of fun, guys. I did. And Vikka, thanks for the show, bro. It was really great. Evelyn, that was a nice story too, by the way. I like that.
Yeah. Yes, I like this this story too.
Yeah. That was very cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. In the end, it's showing us the similarities. Yeah. Yes. A lot.
Right. And it always makes me wonder about the timeline. Because that could be an easy one for them to switch around, throw a few 100 years, 1,000 years around, and nobody really catch it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It makes me wonder about what like the years in history. So that could be a whole subject then of itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna continue our cosmologies and with those extra doses of, like.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
Extra
continue
doses
it.
of truth.
Yeah. So we're gonna connect everything. Yeah. So
Yeah,
and last words,
brother.
Evelyn. Last words before we wrap.
Yeah. It was a really interesting episode, and I'm always looking for the coincidences with the. I'm switching to Dutch there. I'm tired. Looking with to compare with the biblical version of creation, and I quite like this one because it also makes mention of the giants and the fact that they were plotting against the gods and all that. So you have the animosity between the giants and the celestial beings. So yeah, that was a very nice comparison there. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the fallen angels. Yeah, I'm all into that into that stuff. It's my favorite subject. The Genesis story, the fallen angels, the hybrids, the giants, the animal hybrids also. I mean, if you read the Bible in its literal way, there is so much. Yes, Genesis 6. There is so much there that will make you think twice. Like what there were, there were, people animal hybrids. Well, yes. So that's that was quite a surprise for me to read about that stuff in a new kind of way, with a new perspective, which you never think of until you learn about the fallen angels and all that, and then everything comes to life after that. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Evelyn, you got to you might know, but look at the Urbano Mont map from I think 1539,
Oh,
something like
I
that.
love that map.
I'm sorry.
I love that map.
Okay, yeah, I had a feeling you would. Yeah, that's one of the best. Absolutely
Yeah, I spent the time
fascinating.
just focusing in, just you know, and reading all the. You see all the little pictures of hybrid people, because you see the half man and half fish with two tails, or
All right.
you know, crazy stuff there on that map.
All right.
All right, guys. All right. Leave it for next time. All right.
Yeah.
So Zeus Scott is saying thanks, Evelyn. Thanks, Gene. So Zeus Scott was saying fallen angel. You are also mentioning fallen angel, and then here Zeus Scott again says Genesis. So fallen angel, Genesis, Jin is also a fallen angel, right? So anyway, guys. The Celtic cosmology means to have a far better understanding of the way they saw things, you know, so the way they saw the structure of the earth, the way they saw their gods, the way they saw the underworld, the way they saw the structure of their entire world or realms. So if you understand the cosmology of the Celtics, then you have a much bigger picture and understanding of the Celtic people and their world. So that's what we saw here today, and no different than any other, different variation, but totally, because it's the same thing. The root information is one. So thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys check out next week, because we're going to continue with our cosmologies and those extra truths of doses as we go and as we evolve. So thank you, everybody, and make sure you guys check us out next week for our next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. Thank you again, Evelyn. Thank you, Gene, and thank you, everybody in the chat. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye. Good night.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.